Hello, is this where the Energon 101 class is? I'm a new student here.
Ah, wonderful. I am always looking for young pupils, such as yourself, to bestow my knowledge upon. There is always something to learn, even if you think you know everything.
Those are some wise words. I'll do my best, Perceptor. You can count on me.
Cool.
Smokescreen. I didn't know you took this class, or even went to school for that matter.
Yeah, man. This class is pretty chill, but be careful, because the professor can get pretty crazy, dude. He's got a temper shorter than Cliff Jumper, bro.
He seemed really nice when I met him.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
This is Perceptor. If you couldn't tell he was a genius, he transforms into a microscope. Why don't you just slap a monocle on him while you're at it? Well, this Perceptor is from the Studio Series 86 line, if you couldn't tell from his accurate design, and this was probably one of the easiest characters to make, considering he doesn't have any vehicle junk hanging off him. This microscope part sits on his shoulder, and you can move it out of the way if you really wanted to. He was purchased online. It was another double deal, considering I got this character and Studio Series Wheeljack from the Bumblebee movie. I didn't have either of them, so it was a necessary purchase. Now you must be wondering, can a walking microscope hold a weapon? I mean, what does a microscope need a weapon for? Well, keep pondering, because the microscope does have a weapon, this quaint red blaster. Because a transforming microscope could be worth a lot of money, and Perceptor needs to protect himself from thieves as well as the government. It would be neat if you could remove this and mount it on his forearm. Create a sort of fusion cannon, but such an idea does not exist. Perceptor is a genius, though. I'm sure he could figure something out. Getting a closer look, Perceptor has a lovely silver face with two blue eyes. The scope has silver around the rim. Actually, Perceptor has quite a bit of silver paint, a nice contrast to his red and blue color scheme. Although, as an intelligent bot, I suppose it would be wise to have such a bright appearance. His legs do this weird thing, where if you grab it here, you can literally break his leg. At least his limbs don't have to detach. I don't know what was wrong with Cup, but as for Percy, he seems like a stable guy. Even with these treads that just decided to show up. For goodness sake, none of these figures are allowed to be straightforward. There's always something with these goobers, whether it's a third mode or a morbid gimmick. Hopefully some comparisons will cheer me up. Compared to other Studio Series Deluxes, Percy is quite tall. Let's take a look-see, shall we? Perceptor is taller than Cup. I mean, he wasn't really tall to begin with, but as we scale him with blur, he even towers over this speedy chap, if only by a little. I suppose geniuses have to maintain a certain height advantage over their allies, because intelligence is measured literally, not mentally. Here is Perceptor with the Wheeljack he was purchased with. Wheeljack is a tiny fellow in comparison. I do like this because it reminds me of Pinky and the Brain. Which one is Pinky? Which one is the Brain? You can be the judge of that. Percy is one of the easiest figures I have ever had the honor of handling. If you have Percy, then you know. Now what we want to do is come to the arms and take hold of the wrist. The wrist will flip into the arm and reveal this blue square in its place. Do the same for the other side, otherwise your microscope will look strange and kooky. Take Percy's head and rotate it around. What will happen is that the head will flip down into the body, but something to note is that if you flip the head down all the way, it will become a challenge to bring the head back out. So flip it down until you feel that stopping point. Next, you want to take the arms and bring them down. That will free up this piece and allow it to flip out. This is what shall secure the scope in place. Otherwise, you'll have a floppy scope, and that's not healthy for microscopes, especially ones that transform. To orient the scope, flip it this way, and the red section will flip out on its own. And now we can bring the two pieces together, ensuring that our genius microscope has its scope directly in the center. Orient the arms so that the forearms are facing up, and the slot on the forearm will slide into a red tab right there. Because the silver dials, which do not move, are supposed to be in a position where you could easily access them, but they don't move, so there's really no point, to be honest. But we basically have the top half all finished. As we move our way to the bottom, we are going to flip the toes down, and then we will grab these hip pieces and raise them up, as if he is sitting. Next, we shall man-spread him, and take this joint and bend it inward, so that the foot is facing the front. Do the same for the other side. I believe this is the first figure I own that has incorporated this man-spreading technique. Such trait is a rarity, that's for sure. Finishing up the transformation, grab this chess piece and bring it down, which serves as some sort of tray for the microscope. But the scope doesn't even work, so it's just for show. But that's life. Bring the fake news scope down to fully finish transforming your fake news microscope. I've seen very few microscopes in my lifetime, but I'm certain none are as vibrant as Percy here. I'm guessing he's accurate to his microscope mode in the show. I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that if someone like Wheeljack wanted to use the Percy to magnify something, he would have to do some climbing. You could angle the scope so he can see, but that just makes it a telescope. Whatever scope Perceptor wants to be, it's all up to him to decide. And everything you see here is what you saw in robot mode, just in a different configuration. I don't know what you want me to say. There isn't much to say about a toy microscope that doesn't function as one. You can't even look stylish holding a weapon. I mean, one has to sacrifice genius for glamour. No one can have both, I'm afraid. It's a pain to even put it on, so I would just not try to begin with. Here is Perceptor with cup and blur again. Looking at it from a human standpoint, one would have to wonder how this works. A microscope the size of a car, just hanging out without a care in the world, with treads so it can move. If I were that human, I would keel over as my brain tried to leave my body. Here we have Percy and Jackie. Again, there isn't much to compare here. Perceptor stands out like a sore thumb, but there is something we can do to make it better. Although it's a little bonkers. We can give Perceptor a tank mode. Oh boy. Getting Perceptor in his fake news tank mode is quite simple, actually. But whether you could classify it as a tank is up to you. What will happen is, this blue post sticking out will connect with this red hole above the 5mm port. Extend the leg as far as it will go. Turn the leg so that the treads are facing you. Although it doesn't help that they aren't painted. Shame. Now ensure that the post and port line up with each other, otherwise you will have problems. You will feel them connecting, and it is a secure connection at that, so they won't come loose. Not on my copy, anyway. And once you've done the same for the opposite side, congratulations. You have your very own microscope tank. And honestly, I don't hate it. I do think this mode scales well with the other figures, considering this makes Perceptor more Cybertronian. It is a real shame that the treads aren't painted, or they could have taken the hardhead route and implemented some small wheels so it would have had a chance of rolling. But that is Perceptor. His robot mode is acceptable. His microscope mode is straight to the point. He does what he is advertised to do. So, to me, I am content. As always, your audience is greatly appreciated. Sleep well.
To fully understand the organic and cybernetic components that develop into Energon, we must first recite the lifelong saying. I am the child of Primus. His blood is mine.
I didn't realize he was going to talk so much. Maybe I could take a little power nap.
No sleeping in my class! You are a stupid nugget!